Firstly, the International Criminal Court is of no universal importance. It is one of the international entities whose jurisdiction is not recognized by Russia, as is the case with many other countries of the world. I think the United States does not recognize it either, nor does China, Turkey. So the fact that such an entity exists, in essence, an independent entity like this exists, maybe it's not such a bad thing, but that it is universal, firstly. Secondly, such decisions can be circumvented easily, very easily. Suffice to sign an intergovernmental agreement, and the jurisdiction of the ICC will be restricted to it. We have very good relations with Brazil, stable. They have been lasting for decades. So by and large, we can sign an intergovernmental agreement and nobody will find themselves in a difficult situation. Now, as for the independence, I don't want to really make it look somber, but the International Criminal Court announced that they're going to take decisions with regard to certain political leaders of the Middle East. Later, the United States checked them, and they shut up. That's about it. The respect for an entity which is not universal, which is not independent, is quite low. It has a low profile, if I may. And the main part, we have a difficult situation. The Ukrainian crisis is far from being over. And, well, the main point, we realize G20 is a good forum. It is useful in general. If it is not politicized, if it is not overly politicized, there have been taken attempts, but it was initiated and not such a long time ago as a purely economic platform. If it goes down this path, it will be useful. But we realize what happens around Russia. I have good understanding. We have good friendly relations with President Lula. Will I go there on purpose to violate the operation of this forum, to ruin it? Even if we let aside the ICC, it will be the only topic for discussions. In fact, we will derail the G20 summit. Why would we do so? We are adults. We will find a person in Russia who will be able to represent the Russian interests in Brazil. As for the political structure and system, your Egyptian colleague mentioned this part, but since we returned to this subject, I will go back to his initial question. What he said was that I declare and we seek to rebuild the world order. It isn't our aspiration, in fact. It happens naturally. We just say that the process is inevitable. Hence, we need to respond correspondingly. New centers of power that emerge, they do emerge not because Western countries caused the Ukrainian crisis and everything is where we are. By way of reminder, in 2014, the Western countries led by the United States organized or supported, if they didn't organize, they supported a coup d'etat, and that was the starting point. And then for years, NATO was being driven towards this point, and they also started the war in 2014. Those who disagreed with the coup d'etat faced armed activities involving armed forces. That's when the war broke out in 2014. But the global changes started prior to this. They took large scale, and this is what we call building of a multipolar world. We just observe the fact that it is taking place. We contribute to this in a way to prevent destruction, but in order to ensure more and more constructivity and more creation. You say we need to be more active. How? I think making too much fuss is inappropriate. We're taking individual steps, one after another.
As regards the finance, we did not drop dollars in the dollars, the universal currency. It wasn't us. We were banned and barred from it, and now 95% of all the external trade of Russia is denominated in national currencies. They did it themselves with their own hands. They thought we would collapse. No, we haven't. Now we have new underpinnings. Now trade with China, 95% are the respective shares of ruble and RMB. And we also have been using RMB with third countries for settlements and payments, and definitely that plays into the hands of the Chinese currencies status. China doesn't want to do anyone any harm, no. It's happening naturally. This is number one. So, settlements in national currencies. And we have established a bank headed by Madam Dilma Rousseff. And a lot is yet to be done. There is a need for a capital top-up. And we have met with Madam Governor several times. She's very professional. She knows what to do. So we should also establish an insurance arrangement, and the reserve arrangement for currencies. These should be operable instruments and tools, not lip service. And now we want to come up with, I will just say about that in general terms now, we want to come up with the discussion of the use of digital currencies in investment developments by BRICS member states inside the group, and also in the interests of other developing and emerging economies with good prospects. And we are to come up with a toolkit that will be under the supervision of the respective BRICS institutions. It may be another very good step in the development of the Global South with our direct active engagement.